What is up, guys? William here from fitnessforbackpain.com. Really excited to bring you a different kind of video. It's a follow along workout video specifically training the lower body. If you've had any kind of disc injury, herniations, bulges, ruptures, you've been fused, you've had any kind of spinal issues going on that you've had operated on, and now you've been cleared to exercise, you want to work out, but you don't know how to train your lower body with that type of history, this follow along workout is for you. Don't worry. I'm not gonna bore you to death and show you every single rep and set that I do, but what I want you to see is not just a fabricated workout that I made for this specific video. This is me working out. I have a ruptured L5-S1 disc. I have zero chronic back pain. I lived with chronic back pain for many years ago, and I've had no surgical intervention to have it fixed. And I want to show you how I train my lower body. And before we jump in too quick, I want to give you a free gift. If you do have any kind of history of fusion, if you have a disc injury, rupture, herniation, bulge, whatever your situation may be, I want you to have my free guide. It's called my pain-free training guide. You can get it at fitnessforbackpain.com/pain-free training. There's a lot of specifics that I dive into that you're gonna see me do here, but I may not talk about them. And I want you to understand the ins and outs of having a smarter training program. And this PDF is a great guide for you to take home with you, absolutely free. And then you can watch what I do and be like, oh, that makes sense why he does that. That makes sense why he put this first versus that first. Get that guide at fitnessforbackpain.com/pain-free training. So let's talk warm-ups. You see me on the bike here getting warmed up. This is usually what I normally do when I first jump in for lower body days, is get my legs just moving. It could be a fast-paced walk, it could be on a treadmill, it could be out on the street. Whatever you're doing, this is what I'm doing here on a spin bike. Love this bike. It's an awesome bike. It's always been a good bike for me and it works well for my specific situation. From there, once my warm-up is done, I'll go into some kind of core training. I'm gonna show you a little small piece of what I would do. I'm actually doing adductor planks in this video here, specifically because I tend to get a lot of cramps on my inner thighs. If I start squatting or doing anything kind of heavy on the legs, if I don't warm up well, the inner legs on me specifically will begin to cramp. I'm doing these adductor planks specifically for that. As you can see, I put a lot of emphasis on my lower body warm-ups. Now you're seeing me get into some just slow, or I call them slow-mo body weight squats. What I'm really kind of doing is just trying to feel these lower body muscles engage, activate, making sure that my lower back is not tensing up, it's not responding out of fear. If you have a sensitive back, if you have any kind of history of low back pain, you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to sometimes your low back will just trigger and it'll become a spasm type of thing, or it'll become like a tension thing where your low back will just feel like two rubber bands are being stretched from end to end. Sometimes that happens right away, sometimes it's not like that, but this is what I like to do to kind of just prime my body, making sure I'm balanced. If I were to add 200 pounds to my back, I want my balance and everything, that how I feel in my lower body to be identical to how I feel just moving in this same plane of motion with body weight squats. From there, moving on to some hip rotations with some lunges, very basic stuff. I love adding in these hip rotations with lunges to kind of add just a dynamic warm up to my lower body days. Very simple, effective, and I do them all the time. All right, so last few things before we jump in, you're gonna see me do some good mornings and some hamstring activation, basically some hamstring curls on a stability ball. I don't always suggest everyone do good mornings. I've hated them for a very long period of time. I don't think that they're necessarily the best option for people. I like to do this to warm up and to prime my posterior chain. You see me doing on the stability ball, but the good mornings that you're gonna see, don't worry about doing those. They're not necessarily a primary thing that you should be adding. Be careful. You can mess those up if you're not engaging things properly, so be cautious, but I'm gonna add them to my program because I love the way they feel and how they fire that posterior chain for me. All right, so we're gonna start off the actual weighted exercises with a goblet squat, or you can do some kind of front squat variation. Love these, hitting the quads a little bit more. I like the goblet squat, especially with a kettlebell or something like that, just because I can keep the weight close to my chest. Oftentimes when you have sensitivity in the low back, you wanna keep everything as tight as possible to you. You start holding things out and your core's not engaging the way it should, or you're not emphasizing that brace properly, your low back will kick in. And if you've had a surgery, if you have a sensitive low back, this could be a big factor in why you're having a negative response to the exercise. So I will grab that weight, I will squeeze that weight, create that full body tension, then I will go into engaging my lats, so almost locking that weight into my chest, and then following the same path that I did when I was doing the warm-ups of just body weight squats, nothing crazy. I'll take the weight down, come back up, and do my designed or designated set and rep scheme for the day. All right, next up is the static lunge. You can use dumbbells, you can use resistance bands, you can use kettlebells, lots of different variations you can do. I love the hanging static lunge that you see me doing here. They're just great. I love doing them. They feel good. I can keep my body in a great neutral position, neutral to me, or just a comfortable position to me. No overextension, no forced positions I don't really feel like being in if I have a bar on my back. So love doing these for lots and lots of reasons. Usually by now I'm a little bit more fatigued, so the weight will be a little bit less due to the goblet squats or whatever I do first, but that is okay. I totally planned for that and it works out in my specific program. Just a few pointers on the static lunge, or the lunges that you see me doing here. It's all about finding your groove, right? Sometimes people will be too far apart, their legs will be too far apart, which will force them into like being overextended when they're in that down position or coming back up out of it, or even at the top of it, just because of the position of both of these legs, there'll be an overextension or too much extension. Fine tune it, find a angle, a level, a distance between your feet that works for you, that feels really good, right? We get caught up in trying to mimic what someone else does, which is a good maybe starting point, but if having a wider stance hurts you, go with a narrow stance. You know, don't feel like you have to be sold out for one specific stance. By all means, have a pad under your knee, whichever leg is in the back. You can put a pad under that knee, so when you do come down, your knee's not going as far down as someone else might be. That's another option that you can make it a little bit more gentle on the knee or gentle on the overall body. Another trick you can do is leaning forward. So while you're doing these specific lunges, you can actually pitch your angle, your upper body forward some, so that when you're pressing up and down, which is the same force and weight is going into that front leg, but the angle of your upper body, starting at your lower back going up, is different. It's not as extended, or it's not as upright. And lastly, we have more hamstring work. I've been trying to do more hamstring exercises in my programs, almost like a 2-to-1 ratio. I didn't necessarily do it in this specific workout. I think I was crunched on time. But you gotta hit your hamstrings, if not the first exercise that you do. I've been trying to add them earlier in my program to make sure I get them done. Here you see me doing them at the end of my program. Weight will range depending on how much weight I have in my gym at the time available, but I'll go pretty heavy. I'm basically doing a straight leg deadlift. I'm really emphasizing the engagement and the work being put on the hips and hamstrings for this specific exercise. Normally for an overall workout, I'll stick between 15 to 18 working sets. That's overall all my exercises. I try not to have too many exercises in my program, and if I do have 4 or 5 exercises, I'll range between 3 to 4 sets of each one. And that's it. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know if you like this type of video in the comment section below. If you liked it, hit the like button. That's a super easy way of doing it. Or just in the comment section below, hey, do more of these. Would love to see some upper body stuff, arm days, shoulder days, chest days, whatever you want to do. I am happy to put these together if you like them, if they're entertaining and they're worth your time watching. Let me know. Appreciate you guys for your support. Don't forget that free gift. If you're gonna do this specific workout, I highly suggest that you get that PDF. Read through it so that what I did today will make sense. And if you have to make any changes, you can make smart changes and not changes to your program. They're gonna end up hurting you more. You can get that at fitnessforbackpain.com/pain-free training. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next episode.
Yeah.